New York has been called many things. A summer festival, a melting pot, a nice place to visit, but I wouldn't want to live there. New York has something for everyone. The casual visitor, the people who work in the city every day. The movie maker, one of the wealthiest and most sophisticated cities in the world. It also has great numbers of little neighborhoods. And recently, one filmmaker who comes from a small neighborhood, affectionately called Little Italy, made some of his own experiences there into a movie. His name is Martin Scorsese, and he's the director of the motion picture Mean Streets. Today, Martin Scorsese is back on Elizabeth Street, with his mother, with his friends, recalling the exciting, strange, wonderful people and places that fill the film.
Going back to shoot was kind of a rebirth for me. It was kind of a reassertion where I really am, I guess. The film isn't as small as Little Italy. In other words, Little Italy's only 10 blocks on the east side. Little Italy, for me, is, in a sense, a microcosm of something much, much larger. If you want to get really deep into it, it's about life, you know, it's about people. It's really based on certain character realities. Well, the film is sort of based on me and a fellow named Robert Uricola, a guy named Joe Morale.
The three grew up together in this neighborhood. They share many memories.
We'd go to what we called clubs, and you would try your luck at picking up a girl.
That whole scene was very actually portrayed. The constant hustle of chicks, this almost flamboyant attitude when you had one, you know, sort of parading her around the place.
This is my good friend Charlie. This is my good friend Tony. He owns the joint. This is, what's your name again, Don?
Sarah.
Sarah Klein, right?
Yeah.
Sarah Klein. This is Tony. And this is what? What's your name?
Heather.
Heather Weintraub, right? I met them in the village.
Marty, Joe, and Bobby returned to the streets. At one time, the three knew every sidewalk and building in Little Italy. And this is what the director sought for his film. It wasn't easy.
Shooting this film was very difficult because of the volume of things. I also try to keep the shooting in the streets as simple as possible so that the atmosphere takes over. We went into Curdy's old building. We used to hang out in the hallway there, and we shot most of the film in that hallway, in Robert's mother's apartment.
All right, I think I am going to say you.
In reality, we did spend a great deal of time in those early days in that hallway.
Oh, hey. I'm sorry, Mrs. Uricola, pardon me.
We used to hang out in the backyard, too. Curdy's mother, who looked out the window as she was talking to Robert, she's in the movie. She's the lady who yells at the window at Harvey and Amy when they're fighting in the backyard. We used to hang out on the roofs a great deal in those days. We had a lot of fun at Robert's place and on his roof. The centers were always the hallways and the rooftops. And I know, for example, that very often we do target practice up there with guns.
Hey, watch this. I'm going to shoot the light out in the Empire State Building.
What, are you crazy?
What's the matter with
What are you doing?
One guy would shoot off a gun from Robert's roof into a water tower across the street on a printing building and knock all the water out of it. And the next day, of course, it was freezing weather, and the whole building would be on sort of a waterfall, icicles, all the way down, maybe 12 stories down. It was beautiful.
Hey, lady, I'm sorry.
We walked around St. Patrick's Old Cathedral, which was the first Catholic cathedral in New York. It has a graveyard all around it, in which we shot the movie.
Not showing up for work last week, you know that? After all we had to do to get you on a truck, stupid, what with you? Oh, hey, Charlie, come on. My hand was hurting. My arm was hurting.
Your hand was hurting. Your mouth's gonna hurt from this kick.
For what? Hey, I swear to you, what are you talking about? Besides, I don't like loading crates. I tell you.
You're not supposed to like it. What gets me is your attitude.
My attitude? What gets me is your attitude. Do you ever load crates? You don't
My
work.
attitude.
What do? You tell me to go to work, and then you do all the talking. And what do? You do nothing.
I'll tell you something I don't do. I don't know anybody 2,000 clams, stupid.
Ah, feels good, huh, Charlie? The streets are empty, nice. I mean, thank God. I mean, with that feast down, you can't even move in your own neighborhood now. I hate that feast with a passion.
Hey, never mind the feast. Just remember, when we get there, I'll do the talking.
Yeah, that's the trouble. You always do the talking.
Ain't no fooling around, John.
It was good for the three of us to get together and talk about the old days.
Having a friend that you respected and trusted to make sure he didn't get himself in a predicament where he could get in trouble. That's a part of my nature, and it's a part of Joe's nature, and it's a part of Marty's nature.
Gonna see you and Johnny Boy down here tonight, right, Charlie?
Yeah, we'll be here.
I'm telling you, Charlie, that kid doesn't show up tonight, I'm gonna find him. I'm gonna drag him down here.
The portrayal of the character, the portrayal of the area in general, the use of locations. The film in general is, I think, real. It's honest.
Well, really, it's been a few years since the three of us have walked the streets of the Lower East Side together. It was like going back into time. I think we all felt it, and we all realized that we couldn't go back into time, but it was nice for the few hours that we were there. We went back to 1959, and it was great. It was really great.
Just generally walked around and got some flashbacks. For instance, just looking at the situation and then seeing it pretty much the same, physically, building-wise, structure-wise. Not much has changed in that respect. Looking at it again and sort of recalling some memories.
We were friends. That's the best thing I can say about Bobby or Marty. They're my friends. We went to dances. Once or twice, fights would start, and if anything happened, it happened to all of us. We were safe or we were in it together. That's the way it was.
I felt the highest form of criticism on the picture would come from the friends that the movie is about. If they had told me it was unrealistic, it wasn't the way it was, then I think it would have failed. But I think it was successful because they understood it.
Martin Scorsese wants his audience to feel for the people and place he knows so well. He wants to share that experience with the world through his film, Mean Streets.